Welcome to Vassals of Kingsgrave. This is, of course, the WolfCast edition, so a joint review for episodes 3 and 4, The Queen's Justice and Spoils of War. My name is Glen. I'm DrBlood from the podcast Based on Fire Forums, and I have a wonderful crew with me today. So I have Sara.
Hi, it's Sara, DrBlood on the forums.
I have Jock.
Hi, Jock. No Jock here on the forums.
And also joining us is Kevin.
Hey everyone, I'm Kevin, also known as Gaiden on the forums.
So this is like a trend, Kevin. So with the Harry Potter podcast, I think you ditched work to join the podcast then.
Yeah, I tend to leave work to do stuff I'd rather be doing.
So it's the midway through the season. Hard to believe there's only 3 episodes left. What are you thinking about the season so far? Question to everyone.
I think
I'm enjoying
awesome.
it.
Yeah, it's been really awesome.
I think it's gotten a lot better since they've ditched this coherent storyline.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
They've always been a lot better at the fan fiction-y stuff than the...
It's hard for me to wonder, just how it's going to relate to the books. If, what is from Martin's plan or what's just their own invention.
I think that they've gone... I think this is like the pants leg in Terry Pratchett, right? Where it's just like an alternate universe at this point. I was interested in the mention, I think, from Spoils of War, where Cersei's going to bring over the Golden Company, and there was a part of me that was like, maybe they'll just have Fagon with them. But I just think that would be insane for them to kind of try and bring it back around at this point, rather than just, kind of screaming towards their own trajectory.
Because I was thinking the same thing with Aegon, too, and I still kind of have just a little bit of hope for Lady Stoneheart, even though I know we're way beyond that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It comes up every season. Everyone always brings up Lady Stoneheart. That I know that there was rumours about Sansa being Lady Stoneheart a few years ago, and then I heard that instead of Lady Stoneheart, it would have been Beric Dondarrion that would have taken that role for this season.
Well, I think Arya kind of, for her,
and now it's Arya.
Her time in the Riverlands.
Oh, yeah, there was Arya as well.
The wholesale Frey wipeout seems to be... what's Lady Stoneheart going to do past that, really? I would think. Just eradicating the Freys is sort of... seems like her end at this point.
You think the Freys are done right now? They'll not come back?
I don't think there are any more to come back, are there?
I think that scene was meant to say that, that was the eradication of House Frey.
Yeah. The Freyns of Castamere.
Plus, a big thing for me is, I guess, reunions and characters meetings. I was talking to Hannah about that last week, that, in the books, there's all these major characters, and we always think one day they'll meet or one day they'll meet again, and then they do it so effortlessly in the show. So you have the Starks reuniting with the last 2 episodes, and then you've got major characters like Jon and Daenerys meeting for the first time.
I think that one of the reasons the show made the earlier season so torturous is because the payoff at this point really shouldn't feel effortless. We've slogged through 7 years of hell to get these Stark kids back together, and I think it seems effortless in the moment, but it's, if you think about the protraction,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's
yeah, I know.
It's like they're finally rewarding us.
The show wants to reward us, but I feel like Martin is going to stretch that out for as long as possible. They're never going to meet.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting because some of these actors, they're family and they're friends off screen, but they've never met on screen before.
For anyone that buys the DVDs, they always do DVD commentaries together, and it's like they've not acted together in years, but they're still doing meeting up to review the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kevin, to your point, I loved the scene with Jon and Dany. I'm sure we'll go scene by scene, but just he was looking around the room, and obviously he was looking around the room to scope out the scenario and stuff. But you got to think there's a part of Kit Harington who's like, who the fuck are all these people? Where did they come from? But
what set is this?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Right? Like, it's a completely different show that, you know, it's almost like a crossover episode, you know? Like...
What are our thoughts towards Arya? Will she actually kill Cersei?
No, I think that's going to still fall on Jaime.
I know, it seems like with her list that she never actually kills anyone herself. It's someone else that kills that person for her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's kind of how she started out, isn't it? Is naming people to Jaqen, right? Which is so interesting to think that, like, it's just her act of saying the name over and over again that marks these people for death rather than her kind of deliberate action in that direction. But yeah, that would be cool. It's a pretty short list.
With Arya and her list, it kind of reminded me of Dany too with her usurper's dogs. Like, they both came with a specific goal of, this is who I want to get, but they're all dead. So it's kind of with playing on Martin's theme of, like, vengeance not being good. It's
interesting that, the plot would kind of almost spare them from making that choice, you know, where it's they don't have to decide merciful to their enemy. Somebody else is already taking care of it for them. Convenient. Whereas, I guess, the characters that we still, or that we're sort of being directed, think of as these, are taking, like, we saw just absolute revenge in the Queen's Justice. We saw Jaime of Thorns, and, you know, I mean, it is a direct, vengeful interaction. But whereas in previous we would have found that satisfying, now we're seeing it as a mark of, like, a failure to move on or a non-productive kind of a dynamic rather than, like, looking forward into the future.
Yeah, because, like, winter is here and you guys are still playing these petty games for the throne.
Dany was like, did he just call me a child? Like, no, he called everyone a child.
We're kind of bouncing all over here, but I'm just a little bit disappointed with her as a character this season. It feels like a reboot of who she used to be back in Essos. She's very aggressive in a way that I'm just not used to her being. And now it's toward characters that I actually like and respect. So it's like, oh, Dany, if you could just tone it down just a little bit.
Yeah, she is kind of playing the hard ass again, isn't she? Where it seems like more of a facade than a real character.
Because she was so much nicer to Yara and Theon when they came over asking for help, but Jon comes over and they have no issues between each other, and she's kind of like kiss the ground and kiss my boot.
Yeah.
But then I'm sure that didn't Yara do that anyway? Like, so Daenerys does help them, but then Yara and Theon do bend the knee for her as well.
That's true. Yeah, she says she just wants to be the regent of the Iron Islands and not claim it as a separate kingdom.
Oh, so she didn't want to be queen of the Iron Island. That wasn't part of their agreement?
I thought it was that she would rule the Iron Islands, but not as like, I didn't get the impression that she was like, I want to break off from the 7 kingdoms, whereas Jon is like, now you have 6 kingdoms, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe I, am being too generous for Yara, but.
Because that was what bothered me, that she would allow Yara to call herself queen, but she's driving this hard bargain with Jon that you cannot call yourself king in the North.
Yeah.
While I'm on the Iron Throne. But I'll have to go back and watch that raving raping scene again.
Yeah. The 3 R's. I'm surprised that, maybe it would be too early, but I'm surprised that the topic of marriage hasn't come up between Jon and Dany. Not because, they have starry eyes or anything, but just because strategically, if you have, I guess maybe she doesn't really see a need for him. Like, maybe that's the main problem with that, is that I feel like she's him at this point. But it seems like he has a lot to offer in terms of making the region of the North pretty much a done deal. And then he obviously is very interested in, like, having her on it. So it just seems of a pure pragmatic political union that would be a reasonable thing to her. But I don't know.
I guess that ties in with what Miss Andy was saying, that's just like an old convention. Like, instead of a king being like the son of some man that they don't know, or to do with like who marries who, she's actually conquering the 7 kingdoms with her dragon, so that's why she doesn't need marriage.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like, it would inherently weaken her position by marriage rather than by conquest, purely conquest. Yeah, that makes sense.
But then she feels the need to have allies who are then wiped out by Cersei.
Like, immediately.
So I think that's my favourite part about just, like, the contrast between the 2 episodes. So episode 3 ends with Cersei being on top and just, like, completely destroying Daenerys' plan, destroying, holding captive or murdering the allies that Daenerys had, but then Daenerys flips that table and then she's on top by the episode 4.
Yeah, it was a quick role reversal there. But I guess we're only down to 7 episodes?
Yeah, 7. Maybe I didn't understand the episode. So Cersei had the debt to pay to the Iron Bank, and then she thought it was a done deal. So Jaime was delivering that money to the Iron Bank, and then is that what Drogon destroyed with his fire?
Well, I thought so. Like, I thought he melted all the gold wagons. But then there was that conversation that they had with Tarly where he said, like, the gold is already past the Blackwater Rush.
Oh, right.
So now they're split up, like, that he learned that they had gotten strung out. But then the banker, I guess that was at the beginning of the episode, says, like, yeah, well, we're totally good. The gold gets here. So it's clearly not, at least at that point, it was not a king yet. But then, like, if by the end of the episode it was supposed to have arrived, seems weird that, like, that wasn't confirmed.
I think Tycho said it was at the gates or something.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember something about the gold passing through the gate, someone said.
So she literally just burned the food that she had appointed earlier?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Mission accomplished.
And that's what I'm saying. Maybe you should just calm down a little bit, Daenerys, before you do things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an amazing scene.
Oh. But, like, how stupid is... I mean, I really... Like, Glen, did you want to go? I feel like we're... Like Kevin said, like, we're kind of just jumping all over the place. Did you want to go in any kind of order? Or are we just, like...
Oh, well, I guess we're talking too much about episode 4, so let's go back a nudge to episode 3.
That's so exciting!
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone think that the Queen of Thorns would still be alive after episode 3?
Yeah, I didn't expect him to have her be poisoned or executed. I thought she might be a prisoner.
When I seen all the army coming up to Highgarden, I thought that it was like she had stolen that army away from Cersei, and that's why, like, when we first see the army coming up, so that was quite a shock to me, that then when Jaime and she had that conversation.
I thought as soon as we saw her on the balcony that there was something about her body language or just her that seemed very resigned. And I don't know, I saw a couple people saying, like, I expected her to pull a Tommen, you know, and just kind of like...
Yeah.
But that's definitely not her style, I think. So I'm glad they didn't do it that way. But yeah, no, I was a goner.
Yeah, a few friends of mine said to me, oh, what do you think? Do you think she's dead? Is she gone? And I said, of course she is.
Yeah, I mean, how do you top that, really? Like,
I mean,
let's...
she drank the poison.
Yeah, and she poisoned Joffrey, so that's how she goes out.
Yeah.
I did think they made it too obvious that's what was going to happen, just the way that Jaime kept looking at the drink of wine, or maybe it was Elena that kept looking at the drink of wine, that we knew it was coming.
For me, I was still kind of blown away that another one of Dany's allies was getting trounced, that I wasn't really focused on the details.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't believe it.
I love how she drank it so fast. You know what I mean? Like, it was part relief, I think, but then also part, you know, very much no take backs, right? Where she's like, all right, let's get good and poison, and then we'll get to the real, you know. And I was surprised that he didn't do anything else to her. I thought that was a very interesting, like, character choice, because I kept waiting for him just to, like, run her thing like that after she had killed Joffrey, but for him just to turn and walk away, I thought it was a choice. Potentially questions about, like, a fracture in values between me and Cersei, right? Where, like, I have no doubt that Cersei would have, like, clawed her eyes out as she was dying, you know.
I think old two-hand Jaime would have definitely have run her through, but this new Jaime wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So if this is a poison where you just drink it and die and there's no pain, why would Cersei approve that?
Well, I think Cersei's plan was to execute her publicly, and Jaime decided that, or did he said something about a different, like an alternative to what the original plan was.
Yeah, he said Cersei had, like, a series of ghastly scenarios all worked out, and then he convinced her just to let her drink poison, and then I'm sure, like, he went to the trouble to pick one that wouldn't be painful.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, And I'm sure Cersei was just like, fine, whatever, just poison the bitch. And so he went and found one that was not. That was the impression that I had anyway, that he was like, no, like I made sure it's not, you won't suffer.
I didn't think the scene worked because she said that tell Cersei I did it as if this was a shock to Jaime, that he didn't realise it would have been her all along that had poisoned Joffrey. And I thought that was something people suspected anyway, that she was responsible for it. Or maybe was that just Littlefinger that had said that?
Well, Littlefinger told Sansa, but I think for the most part, Cersei certainly still believes that it was Tyrion.
Right.
And Sansa, right? So, I mean, whether Jaime did or not when he let him go, I don't know. But maybe he just had no idea.
As viewers, did we know that she had done it? I think she had said something to Marjorie once.
Yeah, she hinted it heavily that she did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she told Marjorie that she would never have let her marry a monster or something. She said, like, you know, we would never have let that happen.
And I think while she's doing it, she's touching her necklace at the same time.
Yeah. But I think the only, like, quote-unquote confirmation that we had came from Littlefinger when he was explaining it to Sansa.
Oh, Littlefinger.
I know. He's so far out of his element at this point, and I feel like he's just smirking because, like, he doesn't know what else to do. He's just like, yeah, I totally saw this omniscient kid, superhero assassin coming. Like, yeah, that was all part of my plan. Wasn't part of your plan. You know, it's just like, that's such crap. Like, you don't know what the hell to do anymore. Like,
this is not the kind of chaos he's used to.
Right, exactly. Right.
I think he'll start his run once he realizes he's completely out of his depth. And I think the cool thing will be when he gets to White Harbour somewhere, he'll get off his horse. And then he'll turn around and get stabbed, and it turns out it was Arya wearing a horse face.
Oh my god.
Horse
That's why they call her Arya Horseface in the beginning. It was there all along.
Yeah. The foreshadowing.
I think there's something very enjoyable about the fact that Littlefinger in the north is effectively like in the south. We're like, what the fuck are these people doing? Like, everyone's crazy, and I don't understand what they're up to, and I can't predict anything that's going to happen. And his discomfiture, I think, in being part of what appears to be a totally different game at this point, like, is kind of hilarious for as superior as he was to Ned in the beginning. Like, he understands politics, but not, the supernatural or the Starks, or I don't know. It's just interesting.
I thought that Bran was all-seeing, all-knowing, as in he had seen everything and he knows everything. So how does he not know whose dagger it belongs to?
He said it was fragmented.
Ah. In last episode, the episode 4? Or did he say that before that?
No.
I think that's the fragmented.
Oh, right.
He essentially has like raw data at this point, and he hasn't figured out how to process it or like make sense of it.
Ah, of course.
Yeah.
See, someone did say to me last week about the Queen of Thorns that, you didn't see her die, so that was like justification that she was alive. But then I said, no, you've seen her drink the poison.
Yeah.
But then this time for Jaime, even though we see him drown, and you've got the silence after the ending, I'm convinced he's still alive.
Oh yeah, he's got to be.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's supposed to remind us of the time that Tyrion almost drowned, and did the episode end on silence with that one too?
Oh.
Was that not the Blackwater episode?
Yeah. That's such a good.
No, that episode ended.
No, it's
Cersei
when
on
they're
the throne.
in Valyria.
Right. This with the stone men.
Yeah.
Jorah and him in quote unquote Valyria. Let's not go back there. That whole thing pissed me off.
That's Dwarf Cock Merchant. Come on, that was just a bonus for the.
It was kind of cool, but at the same time, I'm like, that's not. Stop it.
Right.
It's not like I don't like it because I think sometimes they take like what makes the book cool and then change it. I'm like.
we were saying before, I don't know if you heard it, Hannah, but like this, I feel like it's such an alternate universe at this point that it's almost gotten to be like a Crisis on Infinite Earth. You know what I mean? Like a Crisis on Infinite Westeros, where it's like Spider-Man can see the future. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? But like,
see, I used to enjoy it because of that, and like I don't know if I think it was Julia or somebody was saying maybe it's because we're constantly overanalyzing it. So like the more I think about it, the more I just can't accept certain issues with it.
Yeah.
But I did really enjoy episode 4.
Oh,
I was
so
like,
good.
okay, they're getting back on track. It was really good.
Yeah.
It was definitely emotionally riveting, which is like why you like the book and the show, I think. So that was good, and not as much exposit, you know. What you were saying, Glenn, about the Queen of Thorns, I was talking to my friend Sue, who we watch the show together, and she's a big book reader. And she listens to Be Okay, so hi, Sue.
Hi, Sue.
She and I were talking, and I said, well, traditionally, we would always say, like, well, if we don't see them die on screen, then they could come back. But, like, now we know from Stannis, it's kind of another precedent has been set. So I do think
defunct.
she's gone. Yeah. I definitely think she's gone, and I think there's no point to her character anymore anyway, you know, except for she's an awesome-ass actress, and I love her, but
yeah. Well, I think
they do need to keep clearing away.
Her dressing all in black, I think, really spoke to that point on a kind of visual level where she essentially died when her whole family did. Like, there was no... I mean, she's not going to have...
Hope it works for Cersei.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like, she's not going to have any more children. She's not going to... You know, she doesn't have an heir. She's
I know
the
how,
house. And
like, how fucked up that would be for you if you had built, you know, a legacy and then you completely outlive it. Yeah. And you're way beyond your breeding years. There's no chance.
Yeah.
See, if she were a man, it wouldn't be as big of a problem.
Right. I was just thinking, like, what if Tywin had seen all of his kids blown up at once? He'd be like, whatever, I'll just make more. But, like, yeah, it's, you know, like, just blow the dust off and start again. But, it's, you know.
Yeah, Frey would say that.
Oh, gross.
I did, I enjoyed that scene. That's the last thing I caught before I popped on was you guys talking about the death scene. I found it cheeky how, like, easily they did get into the castle because, well, and that's another thing that pisses me off again from, like, show to book is if it were actually Highgarden, they would not have had quite as an easy time of getting in there.
Except that they had Tarly, right? Like, isn't Tarly the banner? So, like, he must have known how to get in, and he probably knew a lot of this. So, I mean, like, Dickon makes that point in episode 4, right? Where he's like, I knew a lot of those guys. Like, I grew up essentially in Highgarden. So, like, to the idea that, you know, that they would have had any defenses of which particularly Tarly would have been unawares. You know, I mean, plus, like, what...
so you think the Tarleys went in first and then the Lannisters?
Well, I mean, I don't know whether it was a, you know, open the gates to Tywin, sack of King's Landing kind of situation, or whether it was just like, you know, they saw him, they know him, they know they don't stand a chance, and really, what are they fighting for? Because it's a fucking old woman, and literally the rest of the house is dead. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of, I can just see them not putting up all that much resistance to begin with. Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Because she was like, did we fight well? And Jamie's like, considering the circumstances, which I took as like a very diplomatic no.
Right. I do like to kind of just the look on his face when she says, you know, she's the one that killed Joffrey. I just think what I saw there, and maybe it's just what I was feeling, not necessarily reflected in the actor's face, but like, oh shit, Tyrion. You know what I mean? Like, especially if that scene were to come about in the books, the brevity of it for him, because Tyrion's said, yeah, I killed your kid, you know, because he was pissed about Tysha and that admission.
Yeah.
So I think, like, if a scene like that comes about in the book, it'll definitely have a lot more, you know, gravity to it as far as that goes. Because it's not even that Jamie's really, like, hating on Tyrion for that admission, but because he knew it had to happen, right? He knew what Joffrey was.
Yeah, he even said so.
I thought I saw at least a piece of his reaction. I mean, I think part of it was shock that she just went like balls out and was like, yeah, it was your kid. Everybody knows it. Like, what, you know, and he's like, oh no. But I thought there was also an element to which it was a kind of a mini victory for Euron again with all the kind of needling that he's been doing, but where he was saying like, I've given you when he gave her the sand snakes, he was like, I'm giving you a gift that literally no one else in the world could give you. I'm giving you the people who killed your daughter. And Jaime is so proud of himself at the beginning of the scene for talking Cersei out of this kind of monstrous revenge against Olenna just because she's the Queen of Thorns and because she was a Tyrell. But then in that moment, he has to have realized that he effectively just proved Euron right? Like, he had the chance to give her the exact same gift, effectively, and, like, bring her somebody who'd killed her other child, and arguably, like, the one that she'd been more angry about, and he like, pissed it away, basically, like, trying to do the right thing.
But that's good for his character. He's not, consumed by vengeance and, gross thoughts like Euron is. Yeah. So, it's a good comparison.
Like, is that what she's going for now? Like, should I have delivered her up to, I don't know, yeah. But it was too late at that point because she had the poison.
Was it too late? Because he could have just, took a knife and stabbed her if he wanted to.
Well, he could have done, but he couldn't. What I'm saying is I don't think she would have made it all the way back to Cersei. Like, I don't think he could have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been crazy if he was like, psych, that was just water. Now I'm going to drag your ass back to Cersei.
Sucks to be you.
Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah. I have to say,
I heard some theory that they were thinking like she didn't really poison Sand Snake number whatever.
Oh yeah. That
just a psychological torment there. Like, I can see her doing that. Yeah. It doesn't matter either way, but
I really appreciated the lipstick thing because I saw her wearing it. Like, I didn't put it all together at all, but like she came down and I'm like, damn, that is. Why would she be trying something with the haircut? It was just.
No, I totally saw. Because she never wears lipstick like that.
It was so weird, right? And I was like, maybe she's just like trying something new. Like, I don't understand.
But speaking of Ilaria, does anybody believe that she might still be alive down there?
She's definitely still alive. Yeah, but I don't know.
I don't think her daughter is.
I should say then, do we think we're done with her as a character on the story?
Yeah.
No. I don't think so.
Really?
One can hope.
Oh, right.
I've been burned before, so.
I
think she'll come back,
It's just the whole thing of them making it a point that we're going to keep feeding you even if you don't want to eat. That's kind of like, okay, they want her alive I know they want her alive to torture her, but do they want her alive for the story?
I think they want her alive for the story.
What do you think she's going to do?
I suppose if Daenerys arrives in King's Landing, she might free Ilaria.
Mm-hmm.
Then that Daenerys at least... in fact, Ilaria and Yara, so... They're keeping her alive, so Theon has gone to, of course, get Daenerys' assistance. She's not there at the moment, but she might be, and then Daenerys might help getting Ilaria and Yara out of Cersei's grasp.
I don't think Ilaria has done. I mean, like from my personal story, like I don't think that she's done enough to deserve that on some level as a character. Like I just don't. You know what I mean? Not just because Dorne was terrible, but just because like she doesn't have anything that makes us want to root for her. Like she's basically an embodiment of like pure loss and pure vengeance. And I feel like there's really nowhere for her to go at that. I don't know. I just feel like, especially if she's gone totally bonkers after watching her daughter decompose or whatever, like she would just be this like Queen Margaret from Richard III being like, I curse you and I curse you, and just kind of running around and like screaming at people. And I don't really see that being like a good use of our time for the last season and a half. Like,
yeah, it's weird, like with the show, as opposed to the book, George can make and break characters whenever he feels like it, but the show gets into contractual obligations with the actual people.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can never kind of tell what's really going to happen just because of those kinds of things,
Well, I think they said I think it was History of Westeros said that like the actress had actually said that she was done. But I mean, then again, Kit Harington said that too, so fuck him. But he's like, I'm dead. They gave me the phone call. I'm like,
of course they did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm sure they gave the phone call.
I think my favorite part of that whole scene in the dungeon was her break in her monologue where she's talking about what she's going to do, and then she's talking about Marcella, and she said like she was my only daughter and I nursed her, and then she says, you killed my daughter, you killed my only daughter, why did you do that?
Why did you do that?
And that was like, that line for me was just like a punch in the gut, like because even Cersei, she's so like, you know, loss-hardened and almost like bestial at this point, just this like raw vengeance. But like the fact that there's even that question clearly just like echoing in her head was such a powerful moment for me. Like I was, oh my God, why did they you know, like I don't know, but it's amazing to me that.
Well, and again, like it's almost like, yeah, my exact questions to the showrunners. Why did you do that? Because that is not at all the fucking game plan in the books. Like, Arianne does not want Marcella to get hurt. It's the exact fucking opposite.
Yeah.
You know, like they want vengeance for Oberyn and for Elia, but like it's a totally different situation. And Doran is completely right when he says, look, he went up there and he did whatever he did.
Yeah.
And that was fairsies, okay?
Yeah.
So you can't just start waging wars and acting like fools. It's a slow burn here, kids. And then, you know, he brings them back into the fold. It's my sentiments exactly.
Yeah.
Cersei, why did you do that?
I think, yeah, like obviously the Dorne plotline just got so.
But it was really emotional,
disastrously
like,
neutered
as a mom,
in the show.
you know?
Yeah, but just like the fact that I think one of the things that made it so interesting for me was the fact that like she is fully capable, or at least, you know, in passing capable of asking that question of other people committing horrible crimes, but the idea that it would ever occur to her to ask, like, why the fuck did I blow up this of Baelor? Like, I feel like that question would never cross her mind. So, like, she's totally justified, but then she still has room in some part of her to equally blind vengeance as unprocessable or unconscionable. Right? I don't know. It was a really interesting, like, fissure.
Yeah, she has a weird duality.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. But it was just such a striking moment.
I did appreciate just acting wise and writing wise. I felt like that line is so honest.
Yeah.
You know, it's so desperate.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's like she would never look herself in the mirror about her third child and the way that he died and ask the same thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
Why weren't you there for him? Why could you not have seen that coming? You knew that he was in love with that girl and that he felt wholly responsible as king. He was a good king.
Yeah.
You know, you knew that about him. You knew that he wanted to be a good king. You don't think that, even if it wasn't his wife in there, that he would have just been devastated that he completely failed his people. Yeah. You know,
like I've seen people say they were sympathetic with Cersei at that point. Like there are people now that support her over Dany because of all the things that's happened to her. I guess because I don't forget that she, you know, gleefully sent Sansa to be beaten by Joffrey. Well, she knew it was happening and she just let it continue. You know, she blew up the Great Sept. So it's hard for me to like. It was wonderfully acted by Lena Headey, of course.
Yeah.
But I had no sympathy for either her or Ilaria at that point.
No, that's what made that scene so creepy. Where I was like, what am I supposed to like? How am I supposed to feel right now? Like, am I supposed to be glad that she's getting her vent? And then like her thinking about how she had never seen or experienced love more pure than in the scream of horror that Illyria let out when Oberyn's head exploded. You know, I mean, there were just all these moments of just like, whoa, like, oh my God, these people get each other on a level that I really feel like nobody else in the show really does. And she was almost like face to face with her own double in a lot of ways. And that's what she chose to do to her, which is like kind of the most terrifying thing about it, where it's like you're the most kindred spirit. I see, you know, your emotion and I see your pain, and that lets me know exactly how to suffer more than anyone should possibly. It was such a crazy thing for me. It was.
Someone should just like close the door on all of them and just shut the window and walked away.
Yeah.
It's funny because I think that is one thing the show does well, is it does reflect the idea that George has as far as writing the characters in the books of not everyone is absolutely one thing or another.
Yeah.
People are made up of many, many things. And I think the show demonstrates that well, because even if it's not explicit, we feel it as the watchers and we feel it with our investment in the characters, you know? So you get emotional about things like that. And it was the first time I realized, you know, Larry's always been an amalgamation of her character in the book and Arianne to a certain extent. But it also kind of made me think of, what's her name? Taina Merriweather?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tanda Merriweather or whatever.
Taina.
Yeah, that's it.
Is she the one that she gives to Qyburn? Doesn't she give her to Qyburn?
Eventually, yeah. But she's like right there with her, like, elbow to elbow in Feast for Crows, and then,
so to speak.
They have sex and stuff. So it's kind of like, she's many things rolled into one.
She actually doesn't give not to be that guy, but it's like Taina actually escapes when Cersei gets kidnapped. She goes back to Long Table.
Oh, does she?
They do. Yeah.
Who does she give to Qyburn that she says,
should
like,
be that guy.
how's she doing? And then
I think it's one of the
Is it Lawless? Yeah. Right.
No, it's not.
I think
Lawless.
it's
Lawless
not Lawless, but her mom and her sister or whatever.
Felice.
Yeah, that's right.
Is Tanda or Felice? I don't remember.
And he's like, unfortunately, she can't feed.
Yes.
The grayscale scene. We just talk about that for a while.
Oh yeah, I was wanting to talk about
that. yeah. So it was episode 3 that he.
Yeah, that's right. That's when Sam does the
procedure.
Oh,
yeah.
Or was that episode 2?
I think it was episode 2. Yeah. And
yeah.
We just 3 is when he like verifies that.
3 is when he's like cured.
Yeah. I thought.
And let him go. Like, okay.
After a day.
whatever you want to say.
When he's like poking him with the maesterly poking stick, I thought he was like, how does that feel or whatever, like how is the pain? And I think what Jorah said is better than before, but I thought he said it's about a 4, like on a pain scale. And I was like, what the fuck must a Westerosi pain scale be like? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
he's got the chart with the faces.
Right. Like on a scale of, like the flux to Dragonfire, like, how are you feeling today? You're like, I don't know, it's about a plague, like, it would just be the most, like, insane scale you could possibly,
Not a feet amputation.
Yeah, like on a scale of, gangrenous limb, it was just...
There's, like, a little drawing of a, Lyanna in a bed of blood, and, like...
Yeah, that would be, like, bed of blood would be probably, like, a 6 or a 7. Totally, yeah.
Awesome. And then there's out his head, like, are you here? Or,
Yeah. Right.
Did anyone get concerned because Sam shook his hand and then the episode before Jim Broadbent was like, oh, Maesters have performed before, but then they caught grayscale anyway?
Yeah, dude, are you kidding?
Touching.
Yeah. Also, he just put his old shirt back on. They should have gone full Velveteen Rabbit on that cell. Like, burned all his clothes, burned all his, he was just like, I'm just gonna put my tunic back on. You're like, dude, it's covered in fucking grayscale. Like, put the pieces together. He's just like, oh no! Like, start all over again.
Once you get that shit by just touching stuff, like...
Well, that's how Shireen got it from a doll, right? Like, isn't that what they... I mean, I didn't see that in the show, but, like, it was like a blanket.
He'll get his black season 7 outfit next episode.
It's like when you go to the public restroom and, you get out of the stall and you wash your hands, and then, you see people that wash their hands and they just go touch the door handle, and it's like, take a fucking paper towel and grab that. No, you just literally undid everything that you just did.
Or like he holds out his hand, he's like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
Cool.
He does one of those, like, going for the shake and then slick the hair back.
Yeah. That's right.
Oh man.
So we don't think like grayscale is going to be a problem for anybody else in the future. We're done with that now.
I don't think so.
When do we think that Daenerys and Jorah will reunite?
I think
Oh god.
Next episode.
Right.
They never.
I don't have to get things moving, really.
That was one of the cheesiest fucking things about last season. Go find a cure.
Oh my god, yeah.
And
like, I'll never go back, and then she just pushes him underwater. It's so stupid.
I have to say, though, that would raise kind of an awkward Cunning Claw, because he's like, hey, that's a really nice ancestral sword you have. It's mine.
Yeah.
He's like, no, it
looks like
it has a wolf on it.
I used to own.
Right? Like, he's like, hey, that looks...
Only it had a bear.
That looks really familiar. You're like, well, it must not be the same one, then.
Did you get it at IKEA?
Yeah. I love that look
They
he
always
gave to
sell
Dothrak, who took it. Where he's like, can I get a voucher for that or something? Because, like, that's a really nice sword. I'm kind of attached to it. Like, when they handed them over on Dragon's, he's just, like, watching him walk away with Longclaw, like, aw, never gonna see that again.
Yeah, did you say IKEA?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
did you read that fact about the Night's Watch cloaks are just IKEA rugs?
Oh yeah, I heard somebody say that.
It's weird.
It seems to me like that would be more expensive than just going to like a thrift store and finding some ratty ass.
They probably just
garment.
needed him to uniform.
Yeah, I went to try to buy one. It was like $60, $90, I think.
Yeah, like that doesn't seem cost effective at all.
Well, I mean, when your budget is $10 million an episode, I feel like it's a lot of rug money.
You know, like a piece of fabric though.
You would think,
like,
yeah.
If it's just rugs, I mean, just cut square pieces of, like, get the rug material wholesale, right?
Yeah.
That's why we don't get enough CGI wolves. Spent it all on
rug budget. Like, it goes Kit Harington's salary, Amelia Clark's salary, rug budget,
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage, dragons. They're definitely not spending any money on eyebrow dye though, and that has driven me nuts for 7 years now.
Yeah. I also like how the Lannisters are getting like drastically less blonde with each passing season. Like at the beginning, they gave Tyrion very awkward highlights, and now they've grown out. I'm like, I don't think you can grow out. It's not really how that works. But that's
Jaime is less blonde than he used to be.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That I always felt like was I used to feel it was on purpose to demonstrate his arc of moving away from the Lannister.
Oh, that's interesting.
But now they kind of have like totally fucked his character up, so I don't know what it's about. So I have a crackpot theory for the week. So in season 4, in fucking episode 4, when the chick comes to the door after Jaime and Cersei have been down and dirty, that actress has actually been playing Cersei's handmaid since season 1.
Yeah.
And now she's got her hair cut short. And so there's something about how like she's always been she acts like as a double for Cersei too, you know, kind of like, you know, Saddam Hussein, like body doubles. And so now she's got her hair cut short for that too, even though it's like still dyed black, but her hair color changes all the time. Like at first it's blonde and then it's brown. And so they were saying like when Cersei gets crowned, she's wearing like a gorget around her neck that has a lion like right at her throat, but it's a black lion, and it says "Younger, more beautiful queen, like will come and take everything you own." And it was some shit about like how the handmaiden is a faceless man, like, and she's gonna like kill Cersei or something, or like impersonate her. And or has been the whole time and has been like orchestrating all these different events. So I just thought it was really cheeky and I loved it.
I like the idea that Cersei is so disgustingly narcissistic that until her own hair grows back, she just orders all of the women to cut their hair. Like every single servant is rocking that gnarly page boy because she doesn't want to see people with like beautiful hair around her. So she's like, cut it off.
Like, you can't be higher than my head, so everyone has to stoop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that kind of, yeah.
I think it's akin to, like, I think there was a theory pretty early on in the show where it's all about the opener, the map, and how that sun thing is, like, it's actually just the maesters in the Citadel, like, they're playing on a big board game and like the show doesn't mean anything. It's like St. Elsewhere.
Oh, the Astrolabe, like the celestial. Clock or that.
So the opening credits is a Savast table.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, basically. You're right.
Somebody finally used the dragon.
And Bran wakes up and it was all a dream. Like.
Well, about the servant, couldn't actually be Arya since all the timelines are messed up.
Right. Truth. Yeah. It could be the wave. She like stuck her face back on and was like, "I'm gonna go kill some people."
Stuck her face back. Get her guts back in, and her.
Excuse me, Jock. That's fine. I'll take that. Thank you very much.
It's just Jockin. It's Jock and Hagar. It's like no one is delighted to pour your wine.
Because there was a scene last season where that handmaiden was like hiding behind a pillar watching people do stuff. Am I wrong?
Yeah, they outline, like, I read an article where they outlined all into, and like she's the one who was gonna report that Sansa got a period. Yeah, and then like Shay threatened her, so Shay as like Tyrion's lover, and so like she's been up in some stuff, but like I loved her expression when she saw Jaime, like, oh, this is happening now? Okay, cool.
Well, and then it was something too about like how she was actually listening to all of Tyrion's little plans as far as where to send Myrcella. And so, like, he didn't really tell Pycelle that. He told somebody else, but she told Pycelle. So, like, Pycelle ends up being the one that gets blamed, but it was really Littlefinger. I love it. I just, like, that is so high-level paranoid thinking. I love it.
Like, it's just gonna be, like, like a charred, flattened King's Landing, and she's sitting on the Iron Throne, like, yeah, what up?
They never saw me coming.
Oh my god! When Cersei says that she's gonna get the Golden Company, and the banker and Teiko is like, oh yeah, they get stuff back that belongs to us, and she says, as it happens, I want them to recover something that belongs. What is she talking? I mean, is it just Westeros? Like, she says it very like,
I thought about that too. I thought that was weird.
Like, her delivery was very. Is it Tyrion? Like, is that she's still on that?
I guess maybe. Right?
Which I guess now Jaime knows that he didn't do it. I don't know. It's just a weird.
It was delivered kind of odd, because it could be Westeros, but it was like a specific thing.
Yeah.
Not like Seven Kingdoms.
I kind of thought maybe she's talking about Dragonstone, because like technically that does belong to her, right?
Yeah, but like, I don't know, it doesn't seem Casterly Rock, maybe? Like, maybe the Golden Company used Casterly Rock, but like, she never seemed particularly invested in that either.
Oh my god, what if they do, and then Dario's like, second son's away?
Oh,
that is what I was going to just mention. I feel like the Golden Company is like going to lead to a reunion with like all the Essos plotline.
Yeah. Well,
necessary.
Isn't that where Melisandre is going to, though? Like, I mean, couldn't she be the thread back to...
Yeah, I think they're planting like the seeds now with her going to Volantis and Cersei getting the Golden Company. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think we're done with Daario just yet. Like, some of that's gonna bleed into Westeros.
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
You want to see Daario back?
I want a third Daario. No. I want like Daario 3.0, where he's like a totally different person again. Like,
where he actually looks like he does in the books.
Yeah. He's just like a woman. They're like, fuck it.
I guess I kind of want more just confirmation that she did leave it in like good condition. Like, it's still the Bay of Dragons. Sure. And not,
Maybe they should do that with some of the more expensive actors.
Like who?
Like, just replace, like, Jon Snow and Daenerys as actors.
Just like spares.
Yeah.
Did anyone think, based off the, like, previously on clips that they were showing, were you like, Lady Stoneheart? And then you got really bummed out really quick?
No, what was the...
That happens to me like every episode.
What was the previously on that you thought was...
Oh, it was all the fucking shit about the knife, but it was so many things of Catelyn.
What is Littlefinger?
Well, Glen knows based on last week's conversation, I have very strong feelings about fucking Peter Baelish. I'm like, I swear to God, last week I was like, I swear to God, if I see one more friggin' shot of him leaning against a wall, half in shadow, smirking, I'm gonna just scream. And so I was a little vindicated that when Bran said chaos is louder, he kind of was like,
like, oh no. Yeah.
What? Then he smirks because he's like, well, I say that shit a lot, so
right. But like when he's watching Arya,
I tested that out many times. Anyone could have heard it.
Well, like when he's watching Arya and she like they make eye contact and she's like, yeah, fucking what? And he like smirks and like nods at her like, faceless man, huh? Or whatever, like whatever it is that they quote unquote figured out about her, like it's not gonna help him. He's still, this trained assassin. Like even if he realizes that, like benefit.
He takes off his face and like, but what you don't know is.
Oh my God.
I'm serial for
Oh. He's like, oh yes, you've learned so much since I gave you your lessons.
That face off. He's Howland Reed.
Oh my God.
And then I canceled HBO.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Burn my TV.
Burn my house down. Yeah, exactly. Poor Mira, right? Like, first of all, we're never seeing Howland Reed ever. But like, it was just cool.
I like how Blan's just like...
It's been real.
She says he died beneath the Weirdwood way back when, but he had a little bit of emotion when he met Cold Hand Vengeance,
That's
right?
right.
Like, he wasn't dead then.
Cold Hand.
Yeah, but maybe he was referring to the Weirwood that put him under. It was like,
she said you died in that cave, which is a little bit disconcerting for somebody who's meant to be fighting the army. Like you would hope maybe for a little bit more humanity in the opposition, but
she's gonna get back to Greywater Watch like 10 years after the fact, if she finally finds it.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, "Yo, Dad, what's up?" And they're like, "He's not here, bro. He went to King's Landing a long time ago. He was calling himself the High Sparrow." She's gonna be like, mind blown.
I feel really bad for everybody who has to deal with Bran from now on. Just like on a, like they're eating dinner and he's like, "I remember when I cared what soup tasted like." And you're like, "Oh, shut the fuck up." God damn it. It's just like, I don't know. He just bums me out so bad right now. I get it. He's processing like the quantum universe and everything, but like, man, like put a little effort in.
Can we just talk about how awesome Maisie Williams is for a second?
Oh my god, yes, amazing.
Like, she's just on fire every friggin' thing that she does.
Yeah.
Like, she's acting circles around these kids that she grew up acting with.
Yeah.
No offense to like Sophie Turner or Isaac Hempstead, right? I mean, I think they're both also really fine actors, but man, she just, in one little look, like, she gives so much,
Yeah.
Has anyone seen this movie she did called Cyberbully? Yeah, it's sort of like Unfriended and all these Skype-type movies that they released. So it's just where she's on Skype to her friend and then suddenly she gets an email from some random person saying that he has a video of her from like years back, and it's like this really embarrassing picture, and he'll post it unless she does all these things. So it's like blackmailing her into doing all these things. So it's quite, but the acting in it is amazing as well.
Like, I see her on Netflix a lot. Like, she has a lot of these original films on there that I just never get around to watching.
Yeah, me neither.
I appreciate what they're doing with her character, that we've had 2 instances now where at least my impulse on her behalf has just been like stabby Murderton, and she's gone a totally different direction, right? So like with the Lannister soldiers and then with the guards, where like I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like I kind of just expect her to, my God, if I have to kill you to get through you, I totally will. And like, stabbing one of them or like breaking his nose or something. And she was just like, "No, that's cool. I'll just chat with your bullshit and wait till you turn around and then go do what I want to anyway." Like, it was very like anticlimactic, but in the best possible way. Like, I don't know. I appreciate that she seems.
No, I love it. Glenn and I were talking about this, I think after our episode 2. I don't like when people talk about her like she's a sociopath, because she's not. I don't look at her in the books like that, and I don't look at her in the show like that. That's not what her character is. Everybody that she kills is either in self-defense or revenge-based, and in this particular world, that is the only way for her to attain justice. There's no court or due process she can go to.
Right.
So it's not psychotic. There's meaning to it, and she does assess situations. She's not just a psycho killer, and I think that it was a good carryover from in 6, where she chooses not to complete her assignment as a faceless person because she's like, yes, I want to learn how to fight, that's why I'm here, but I don't want to learn how to just kill randos. I came to be able to learn how to do what I need to do back home. And she almost bought in, and drank their Kool-Aid. And then she thinks, no, I'm Arya Stark. I'm not no one. I can't. This isn't the place for me. So thanks for the training. Peace.
Yeah.
And when she does get back home, she's not just like, oh, you're in red, so I'm going to fucking kill you. She listens to him and realizes, no, they're just human beings, Well,
because that's exactly what she does right after the Red Wedding, right? Like, doesn't she just light up that camp when they're talking about what they did to Rob? Like, she and the Hound is like, crap, and he has to go in after her but I appreciate the time that they're taking to kind of build that measured humanity back into her. And I also really appreciate the fact that it's not entirely her interactions with her siblings. Like, that it's not just like she's being nice to Sansa and literally no one else. Like, that there is a kind of measured maturity where she makes it so obvious that violence is always an option, but that there is much more of a balance to it, I think, than we would expect, especially with her, you know, opening salvo this season being murdering all of the Freys, you know, like, it's just a subtlety that I really, and the fact that her list has become something of like a shared joke with everyone she comes across, and she's like, no, but for real, it's a real thing. I have a list of people that I'm gonna murder, you know, but it's like she's willing to have like an inside joke with people. I don't know. I really love the way that they're adding shade to her, like adding shading.
I thought she was going to leave instead of not kill the guards, but I thought the way she looked around, it's kind of like, I don't belong here, rather than this is my home and I'm glad to be back.
That's what I got too when she looked at the Stark banner and she was like, and then she disappeared. I was like, oh no! But yeah, I totally thought that too.
And I was surprised to see her back so soon, because I thought she was going to have her own like subplot for a little bit with Nymeria.
Yeah.
Was that episode 2 or episode 3? That was 2, right?
Yeah.
2.
Okay, never mind.
I do love Sansa as like the straight man in this, where like every time one of her siblings says something, she's just like so weird, which is kind of a very like hilarious callback to the way that they were in the first season, when it really was just like stupid kid stuff, where she's like, ugh, Bran's so obnoxious, ugh, Arya hates, you know, but now it's just like, oh, they got real weird, you know, like, you know, but she seems to be taking it in stride in a way. Like,
what do you make of the fact that they don't mention Rickon to Arya?
It's just so good. I just feel so bad for the actor and the character too.
Well, yeah, and like let's keep drilling it home that like Rickon's not on the show anymore. By of all the ways you could tease Dickon about his name, you're gonna keep mentioning Rickon. For fuck's sake!
Yeah, I thought that. That's the second time they've made that joke.
Oh,
is it really?
The second time.
It is, yeah.
The second time it was that card.
Right, but I think it's the first time that somebody laughed at it, which was my favorite part. Like that, like Bronn was like, "Wait, that's the right one."
Like you're gonna own up to that, bro?
I know, right? He's like, no, just let people think it. Well, I mean, I thought that for what we know of Randall Tarley's character, because they had Sam and then they had Sam's sister, and I feel like when that baby was born, he was like, "This one better have a dick on," and then they were like, "Yeah, that sounds good to me." I was just like,
well, okay, so my son's name is Layton, right? And it's Layton. But we always say Leighton because we're kind of like lazy to say Layton. And he just goes, "It's dick on." Like he emphasizes it so much instead of just being like, "It's dickin'." Like, you know what I mean? Like don't pronounce it that way.
Don't pronounce anus, or whatever that phrase is. Yeah. Anus.
Can we just talk about how John so blatantly painted those White Walkers? Like, I don't think he made up all the other stuff. Like, I think that the first 2 sets of paintings were legitimate, but then like the style,
it's so stupid, dude. I just started laughing.
They were so different. They were like completely different from the other. Like, they didn't look like painting. They were like shaded and like multiple shades of blue and like, you know, really rendered and striking detail. And I'm
no, like we couldn't paint anything except for like a circle shape, another circle shape, right, some squiggly shapes, like stick figures for ourselves. And, like, but these White Walkers,
photorealistic,
like, detail.
Yeah.
3D holographic displays, right. 4K video walls.
I just, yeah.
And Daenerys was completely buying it as well.
I feel like she gave him a look,
line and
like,
sinker.
Like, no, seriously, how long did it job? Like, she had a look at one point that was like, for serious. It was just like, are we just
my
like
favorite part? Like, this is probably how this went down. David and Dan go over to the art department and are like, okay, so we're gonna need some cave drawings up on the set over here, and you know, think like French caves, think ancient times. Throw some White Walkers in there, and the art department guy's like, all right, well, we've got White Walker A, White Walker B, and then the Night King model. Like, throw that shit up on the walls. Let's go. Like, it was like the exact 3 White Walkers they have on the show, and then the exact Night King. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
it did give me It did remind me of Planet of the Apes. So I got a Planet of the Apes vibe when in the original movie when they're in the cave and they find the doll that talks, and then that proves that humans once were an intelligent being that could talk.
Or it's just like a little bit too, I don't know. I saw a tweet or something that was like, John, we need to prove this to Danny. Davos, I minored in art, Your Grace. Give me 30 minutes. It's just like...
Danny just falls down on her knees, just like, you maniacs!
I know. I do, yeah, I was totally on board until the White Walkers, and I was just like, that's a little on the nose, you guys.
How did we feel when Missandei explained when Missandei asked what a bastard was? I sort of shuddered at that scene.
That was weird, right? Because she's a cultural attaché of all of the cultures.
Yeah, she's like, well, we don't have marriage on Nos, so the concept doesn't apply. And it's like, well, okay, so you know that much about what a bastard is. Also, when was the last time you were on Nos?
Yeah, exactly. Which they kind of made a point of like seconds earlier. So
yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Maybe it was just a test to see if he'd own up to it. Like,
interesting.
Like instead of being like, well, a bastard's someone who's like so highborn that they just become king no matter what they do.
Yeah,
that explains John.
That was a really weird moment.
I just received a text that.
Oh my god, awesome!
Not about that, but HBO being like held to ransom for £10 billion.
What?
Because of the information.
Maybe it was 10 million.
Yeah, 10 billion.
10 million. 10
I don't
million.
think they're worth 10 billion.
Do you think like it's anonymous behind it and they're just trying to punish HBO for not being like that, like PC with stuff? Like, I love how in the first episode they stand around saying, or like in the after show thing, Dan and Dave were like, yeah, we just felt it was like a great move for feminism because we've got these 4 women standing around not listening to men about how to rule their country. Okay, but then you like literally kill 3 of them off immediately, and I've still never seen full frontal nudity on a man that meant anything in this show.
No, dick warts.
Shut your damn
dick warts.
But I'm saying like in a not stupid way. You know what I mean? Like that's not meant to be sexy.
Yeah.
Right.
Time they show a dick, it's like a pee joke or a dick wart joke or a
cadaver joke,
or it's getting off. Like
Hodor.
There's
definitely
that's
true.
Yeah.
I guess speaking of feminism, it's like Daenerys is in this weird position where she's like the queen with all the power, but she always has to defer to Tyrion and even Jon for once. Like, what do I do next? Like, she can't make her own decision. I don't get it.
I feel like
in their defense, it's going terribly.
It is.
Yeah, like everything. Yeah.
I feel like their whole thing about her needing armor on Drogon was a point extremely well taken, and like she wasn't even wearing a helmet or a breastplate or so. You know what I mean? Like he's not. Even if he's invulnerable, they said like in episode 3, I think like she's not. All it would take 1 arrow, and like she can't even be bothered to. I don't know. And like in the Princess and the Queen, we learned that the dragon riders had not only had saddles, but had saddles that they specifically chain themselves onto the dragons.
Right.
Which is like such a like turning point in the Battle of the God's Eye. But like, yeah, she's just barebacking it in her tunic, and you're like, that seems like such a terrible plan. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. She could at least have like a Snoopy, like a leather helmet and some goggles or something. Like, take a bug in the eye at 500 miles an hour. It's probably not going to go very well for your cornea, but I don't know.
No, totally. I also like how, you see that all the time. Like you'll see like fail videos or, you're driving around and you see these guys who are on their motorcycles, full leathers, helmets, gloves, and they have their fucking girlfriends on the back in like cut off short shorts and tank tops. It's like, well, guess you don't like her to have skin.
Yeah, like skin optional.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Ugh. I hate seeing stuff like that.
I wonder if it's a Daenerys thing or if it's like we want the actress to be seen sort of thing.
I mean, I'm sure that's what it is, at least with the helmet. But she's leading an army. She should be in some sort of male. Especially because, okay, well, what if you have to land the dragon and get down on the ground? Then you
try
should
and pull a spear out of him, and somebody comes at you with it.
Yeah, you should at least have a breastplate on, even if it's just more decorative. You should still command that image, I think.
Like a chainmail, but made out of like silver scales or something. You know what I mean? So she kind of looked like a I don't know. I think they could do something really cool, like for as quickly as they're churning out, dragon jewelry for her.
Like if you watch the after show thing, they were gonna do that. They actually had like some drawings up from the costumer.
Oh really?
But it went to the rug budget.
So
they scrapped that idea.
Yeah, I don't watch the after show because I feel like if it's not something I can get from the show itself, it's cheating for them to be able to tell me it afterwards. Like the whole the line with Nymeria where like it's not you, and they're like no, that was really cool because, and I'm like, it wasn't cool if I didn't get it from the content. You know what I mean? Like you don't get credit for something.
Yeah,
you
I guess it.
Yeah,
they've been putting in a lot of effort to link it back to like the first season.
Yeah, because that scene with Arya with the guards reminded me of her scene where she was trying to get back to King's Landing, and they were like, "You're not the hand of the king's daughter. Get out of here."
Yeah.
And that scene where Jaime charged Daenerys, it reminded me of the conversation between Ned and Robert when he said some Tarly boy tried to kill him, thought he would end the war just by killing me. So it reminded me of that.
Yeah, sir. I saw somebody mention that before.
And Arya training with Brienne links back to Cilio. Because when she was training before, like, it was those two ended with the daggers together, with Ned looking on in shock, and this time it's with Sansa looking on in shock.
Yeah.
Oh, did she use her left hand again? Remember how she trained to use her left hand, the actress?
I think
she does.
She must have done.
She holds it in her left hand. But she switches back and forth now though, like as she needs to. But like when she gets into her water dance position and needles behind her back, it's in her left hand, and her left foot is always out first.
Yeah, I love. She's like, don't worry, I won't cut you. Brienne's like,
So I was seriously so nervous because here's how my week went. The only thing of the leaks that I ended up accidentally stumbling on was a shot of her and Brienne fighting at Winterfell.
Oh no.
It was just a still picture of it. And right before Sue and I went to watch the episode on Sunday, I didn't get off work until like 6:45, so it was about 7:30 when we're going to get ready to watch it. And her daughter calls, and I can just hear her on the phone like, "Did you see it?" And we're like, "No, we haven't watched it yet. Don't say anything. And we're like, "Oh, great. Like now we know somebody's going to die," cuz they watch it too, her and her husband, but we normally don't check in week to week with them. They used to watch it with us, but they got sick of it cuz we read the books and they didn't. And so we would be like hawing at things that they weren't getting, and so they watch it separately now. But they wouldn't call unless something major happened, to get our reaction. And so the whole time I like gasped really big, and Sue hung up the phone and she's like, "What is it?" And I'm like, "I can't say anything. Like, I saw something from the leaks and I'm just so nervous." And she's like, "Okay, well, let's go watch it." And we get there and I'm like biting my nails, like, fuck.
Oh my god, that final scene was so amazing. Like, it did look like they filmed it in like Montana, but or like Dry Gulch or something. But like, it was weird. It was like weird, like with the buttes or whatever. And I was just like, what is happening? Like, where are they?
I think it was really beautiful, and I think some of that stuff must have been how it felt to be like in Vietnam, with napalm and stuff. And you're just watching burn and the smell and the like smoke,
Somebody was comparing it to illustrations on the thread was comparing it to illustrations that they had seen of Hiroshima with like especially the guys trying to extinguish themselves in the water and stuff. And I was just, oh my god. Yeah. They did a really amazing job of
the intense heat there must have just been. I am glad too that they just sort of showed people as ashes rather than like the descriptions in the book we get of people boiling inside their armor.
I love the ash structures, right? Where like I think it was a wagon. Jaime looks and it's solid. It looks solid, and then it just blows away. And you're like, oh no!
Right? Yeah,
that was so cool.
Yeah, I definitely. I think if you're gonna kill off a dire wolf or two to get a dragon budget, you better pay out on it, and I feel like they did, and obviously we know there's going to be more coming, so that was really good and very, very intense, because you don't know what's going to happen. So I was definitely on the edge of my seat.
I thought it was really interesting that the combat styles seemed equally chaotic, but almost completely inverse of the Battle of the Bastards, where like the wildings were so crazy and like undisciplined, just kind of berserk, and then they were completely undone by that advancing shield wall in that very kind of like 300 style sort of locked step. Whereas this one, like, it was exactly the opposite, where it was the wild onslaught was the one that overwhelmed what was otherwise
well, only because of a dragon.
I think they would have taken it without the dragon, though.
I think so too, especially because of the commander of Dothraki. You guys are terrible. You know what I mean? Like, I think the losses would have been heavier, but I don't.
Well, their formations were pretty much perfect.
The shield wall?
Yeah, and also the archers behind them.
Yeah.
They seem to have like
a
their own
dragon came at them and they didn't break.
I mean, yeah, they melted real nice though. One of the most striking things for me was something that apparently actually happened on camera, which was the mounted archers standing up in their saddles. Like, apparently they actually had trick riders who could do that, and they were like, okay, and here's where you stand up and start shooting your bow, and they're like, okay. My God, that's so insane, but such a perfect, historical resonance with the Mongols and that kind of like original inspiration for the Dothraki culture, that it was just seamless and beautiful, and also just unbelievably terrifying that they would be so adept and so at one with the horses that they were on.
Yeah, it was great seeing them finally in the field, and finally the dragon actually going to town, the army of people. It was awesome.
So I gotta go to work. I love you guys.
Oh, bye, Hannah.
My final thoughts are: I loved episode 4. I hope they keep wrapping it up, and I hope that you all come back for WolfCast, because it's been great having a larger group. All right, I will see you guys later.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Should we wrap it up? Because I think we've lost Glen too. I think his phone died.
Yeah, and I think we've ran through both episodes pretty well.
Okay, all right. Well, it was great talking to you guys. And say your prayers to the Darkling Plane. Oh, before we go though, huge shout out to Davos taking up the grammar police mantle from Stannis. I thought that was so awesome. He was like,
fewer?
Yeah, with less wildings, he's just like fewer. He's like, what? Nothing. That made me so happy. All right, I will talk to you guys later. Happy WolfCast, everybody.